God, look at this group.
All right, good morning. Today is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen. It is May 20th at 8:30. In front of you, you have today's agenda. The one thing we just need to add is approval of actually it's in here, Tucker. Agenda is approved and then, oh, just approval. Never mind. It's just, it is there. Okay. Never mind. So you see today's agenda. If I could get a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. And then you have the minutes from our regularly scheduled May 6th meeting. Do you have any additions or corrections?
Not here.
Nope.
Okay, if I could get a motion to approve the May 6th minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Public comments. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments to the Board of Selectmen on agenda topics scheduled for review and or vote. Comments submitted electronically should be sent to the following email address: bosdistribution@newcanaanct.gov. Is there anyone wishing to address the board this morning? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the introduction of interns. So who is in? Cheryl.
So I want to introduce you to our interns.
You want to
Yeah,
put
right.
nobody can.
I want to introduce you to the interns for this year. We have them for 3 weeks. I'm going to ask them each to introduce themselves and talk about maybe where you're headed after you graduate.
Come up to
Come
that.
on,
gotta come up
and
with it.
turn on the microphone. Yeah, we can't hear it. We want the whole public to hear you.
Sorry.
And tell us the department you're working in.
My name is Kojo and I'm working for Public Works.
And
Yeah.
where are you headed after school?
I'm going to NCC to, further my education for 2 years and then transfer
Great,
to higher education.
great.
Terrific. Welcome.
Welcome.
My name is Matthew. I'm working for the department, Parks and Rec Department, and I will be headed to Fairfield University.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
My name is Hudson Kenny. I'm working in the Department of Public Works, and next year I'll be heading to Colby College.
My name is Leo. I'll be working with the First Selectmen's office, and next year I'll be at Swarthmore College.
Congratulations.
My name is Mariah. I'm working with the First Selectmen, and next year I'm going to Texas State University.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd you get two?
She's
I had a
really
little
tough,
pull.
just letting you know.
I had a little
Okay.
pull. Yeah.
My name is Maxie Murin. I'm going to be with New Canaan EMS, and I'm going to University of Michigan next year.
I'll be there tomorrow.
My name's Aiden Rama. I'm gonna work in the health department and I'm going to NYU for engineering.
I'm Marty Schofield. I'll be with New Canaan EMS, and I'm going to Miami of Ohio next year.
Okay.
I'm Donovan West. I'm working with the New Canaanite, and I'm going to Northwestern.
Congratulations. Thanks. Donovan. You spent a little time with your mom, Donovan.
Yeah, we've seen your work already. You're already working, so well done.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. We're really thrilled to have you all here, and I hope you take a lot away from the experiences that you get over the next 3 weeks. And yeah, so again, welcome. And just so you know, notice Tiger has a few more than I do. So we know who really has both. Okay. So the next thing on the agenda is the New Canaan EMS ambulance purchase. If I could get Tony and Troy to come up. The one that's red, yeah.
Good morning. I'd first like to just give a shout out to our two members. They go through the same training as we do, and they are not blessed to be in the back of the ambulance, just like us. So we're proud every year to see our high school kids do so well.
Yeah,
So thanks, guys.
Great.
Thank you for your time this morning. We're here to discuss our new ambulance that we would like to order. We put it out to bid back in April. We had 2 bids returned. One was from AEV, which was just under 300,000, and the other was from Lifeline Ambulance Service, which was about 350,000. And what I would like to discuss with you this morning is why we would like to go with the higher bid. I've met with Deanne and talked to Steve. I'm sorry, Amy, that I have not met you.
You missed me. Okay.
It really comes down to quality, safety, and that's really it. We have one Lifeline ambulance in our fleet. We went away from Lifeline in 2015 based on the dealership. We were very happy with the dealer that was selling Lifeline ambulances. They stopped selling Lifeline ambulances in 2018. We stayed with them and with the product that they sold. We've had more issues with the product that they sold, and now we're having issues with the dealer. We'd like to go back to Lifeline Ambulance, even though it's a higher bid. We've always, Tony will attest that the one Lifeline ambulance that we have in our fleet is a workhorse. It's 10 years old. It has the lowest maintenance record of the fleet. Sorry, second lowest in the fleet. The biggest issue I think we've had with it is the touch screen went after 9 years. It's a computer screen. I can tell you that this is a general theme with the surrounding services. Norwalk was also with Lifeline, went to this company. They're having issues with their AEVs. Stanford is having issues. They have Horton, different company, but everyone, the general theme in the ambulance business right now is everyone's trying to get new equipment as quickly as possible. And these cheaper dealers are saying, I can get it to you quicker and cheaper. And people are falling for it. And the general theme is we're paying for it.
So it's listed specialty vehicles. That's the Lifeline one, right?
Specialty vehicles is the dealer. Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay, the dealer. Okay. Okay.
Can you explain too on the bid sheet or the on the quote, you have the price of the vehicle less the chassis at $299,888, and then the base chassis allowance for another $50. And so that gives you, oh, never mind. But then you have a negative. So it's really a positive. It's in red,
Yes.
but it's really an addition. Somebody needs to learn how to write a quote. Okay.
That 350 is contingent. Lifeline threw in a contingency plan based on the amount of time it's going to take to build the truck, because they're quoting us 2 years.
Okay.
So they're just throwing in fluff in case something
2
happened.
years.
Yes.
That's down.
That's down from 3. Yeah. That's why this whole thing has been going on,
That's
because
crazy, man.
these cheaper dealers are saying, hey, I can get it to you quicker. Norwalk fell for it. They bought a cheaper ambulance. The guy said, I'll get it to you in 18 months. It came 2 years later. They've had a lot of issues. It's just been a general theme, and we'd
So
just like to go back with quality.
Is it that it's specially made? Is it the build out? Is it quality of the build out? Is that what it is? I'm assuming the actual vehicle is kind of like
An ambulance is an ambulance,
Right.
yes. But the
so
safety
this is your-
features,
this is your
the electronics on it have
those
much
are
more
all
longevity.
specially put in.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's why we want to go for the better product.
And we keep these, correct me, 10 years?
We keep them 9, usually 9.
Okay.
Yes, we have one for 10 years now because it's a delay getting ambulances.
Yeah. So that's like a $5,000 a year differential to have some.
A little more, actually.
Yeah, a little bit, because it's 9, right? And so.
$1,500 a year.
Yeah.
They
and
go
then,
up about $1,500 a year.
the one that you have that keeps going in the shop, like how often is it offline? I mean, or enough?
We are down an ambulance maybe once every 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
That's safe.
More often than that, I'd say.
More often than, well,
Every-
Tony would know
every
that
2
better
months,
than I would.
probably.
every 2 months. Average downtime is 3 or 4 days.
Okay. And you've had way more downtime with the,
The newest ambulance has had the most downtime this year.
there you go. Okay.
And we have, how many in rotation? We have 3
3.
total, right?
Yeah,
So
and they have an equal rotation. It doesn't matter about age. They have an equal rotation so that they're all, we don't run the mileage up on the new one and then have that dilemma.
Are we gonna have more mileage on some of the old ones because you're having to use those more?
Well,
often and-
yes, it'll be, it's going to be higher mileage because it's waiting, because it's delayed. But again, I would not question any other truck being able to handle that. And in rotation, I think it's on duty today.
And Troy, these are gas motors, right?
The Lifeline we have right now is a diesel. This is the last of the diesels that we have is the Lifeline that we're replacing.
So you're going to go to gas on this one?
All 3 will be gas. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because getting diesel is.
Do we do a trade-in?
Yes, we usually, it depends. Every 3 years, we either trade it in. We have given one of our old ambulances to the police department. One time, one of our ambulances went to a burn unit. We put it out there through the dealer, and whoever takes it.
Okay, so
But we'll get credit for that as well.
yeah, so there's no net on the check because it's
Also, I can
we
tell
don't
you,
know, right?
correct. I can also tell you that the Lifelines have a much higher resale. Wilton just traded out their current Lifeline for 120 grand. It's bigger, 4-wheel drive, but that's a really good price for a 9-year-old ambulance.
So many towns deal with having to pay for all of the services, and really what we pay for is the equipment and the amount of volunteer hours. If you weigh that against the cost of the town, it's always remarkable. So I would support, the advice that these guys are giving and the reasoning behind it. And I still feel every time we talk about our EM, our local ambulance corps, the NICVAC, it's the best value in town. I mean, there's no question about it. So I feel very comfortable spending a little bit more money on the recommendation based on, what we've heard. So
thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I would agree. And also we're still within the capital approved budget,
Yeah.
On this one. And
So
it is something over
I just,
multiple years. Go ahead.
I don't think we can, because we have bonds that when we bond these, are they 10-year or 20-year bonds? So we can't sell these. We can only donate these units is what I'm hearing from Ann.
We don't it's a 10-year useful life and we don't amortize it over 10 years.
Well, it probably has a longer useful life because we
but
only
that's
keep
us,
it 10 years, but you probably have to amortize it over the full useful life, not over the how long we use it.
Well, you can choose to amortize quickly. I mean, that's just a choice. You can choose to amortize your bonds.
Yeah.
It's depending on the vehicle. So I'll just confirm.
that's interesting though. I've never heard the term donate, used that way, but that's really what it is. But it's in the past, I've always sort of thought of it as like it's a fire truck, it's an ambulance, but so our accountant is telling us that we should be donating it? Is that
because of we bonded it,
right?
And so you can't because we went out to issue bonds for it, you cannot sell something that you're actually paying interest. You're still amortizing on your books.
Okay.
So
unless you retired the amount of debt that was still
Right.
reflective of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Learn something there.
You shouldn't do that.
Well, we'll get more
Yes.
guidance.
Yeah, and I'd like to, we can talk about that later. I just want to understand how that works. It doesn't kind of, in terms of a fiscal policy, we should be amortizing stuff over our useful life, right? Because otherwise we're paying for something we don't have anymore.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
figure that out.
Okay.
I'm guessing, well, we don't pay taxes, so I don't know.
No, so I mean,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
benefit, there's no tax benefit.
I just wonder if there's a GFOA restriction on it or,
Yeah.
We'll have to figure that out.
We've obviously been doing this for a long time, but I'd be
Yep.
curious to know how that works.
Yep.
So, okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the New Canaan EMS to purchase a new Type 3 ambulance 2026 E450 gas from Specialty Vehicles, Inc. in the amount of $350,000 plus a contingency of $35,000 for a total cost of $385,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all you guys do.
I hope it comes in quicker than 2 years.
Okay, NYPD and PD.
How are you doing?
Jeff?
Okay, so we're here for additional matting for our new building. We have a defensive tactics room, which we've already ordered the mats for. The other room is, excuse me, the vision was to be a virtual reality training room. And after doing the research, the units that initially we thought we would get, which are very, very costly, the technology is not where we need it to be. We're going with another virtual option, more of like headset goggles, but want to add additional purpose to that room by matting that room as well, which will enable the instructors to conduct scenarios which integrate both virtual training and then real life training of defensive tactics techniques. So doing that, this order that you see in front of you, it's through Dollamore Sports. They provide custom matting for the room. It's going to have our patch on it. It's going to look really, really nice. Dollamore, fortunately, of the 3 bids, was the lowest bid, but that was the most desirable mat our instructors were hoping to get. They're high quality. It's the official mat of USA Wrestling and Flow Sports. Comes with a 10-year limited warranty. The brand, or the model rather, of the mat that we're getting is specifically designed to take a beating. It's for instructor type use. The surface is treated and more durable, which is exactly what we need for training, especially with our gear and all the other things that will bounce off the mat that don't traditionally occur in grappling sports. People aren't normally wearing gun belts and things like that on these mat surfaces.
Oh, there's 2 Joes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Joe Ferenga. Could you, so I was just there yesterday with Joe and looking at the 2 rooms. So there's one room that we already were going to mat up. And
Yes, when
that's
you
just
walk
a
into the
training
right.
room. And then across the hall, so you would just do virtual reality training in one, and the other room is for.
Well, one will be, as you're walking in there, the room to the right is that
Mhm.
it's been designated for defensive tactics. It'll be matted, but we have those mats came in. They're just
Yeah,
not
that I
installed.
know. We've got.
So the one on the left will be a combination room, multi-purpose training room where the idea will be using virtual goggles to do scenarios that then translate and transition into.
So you can't
real-life
take those
tactics and
VR
things.
because of the screens. You can't take the VR glasses into the other room.
Sorry, it's twofold. Before we moved, we had a larger area for defensive tactics. And that room was done with matting we received, I believe it was from the high school years ago. They were getting rid of it. We took it, our instructors created a room. So we actually realized when we came in here, that was a factor, that we have less space for defensive tactics training. So once we realized we're not going with a whole VR system in that other room, the chief, deputy chief and I were talking, and we're talking with the instructors, and we're like, all right, well, there's no harm in adding matting there. It increases our ability to do defensive tactics training, and we now can have a dual purpose option there with the VR purpose as well. The defensive tactics room has the TV in it for watching videos, kind of going over how things work in the field. When you're doing the defensive tactics program, it's always important to show people who don't have a background or who maybe don't do these things on their own, exactly how things are going to play out in the field. So you say, all right, this is a real life scenario we may have. You tell someone they're under arrest, they're pulling away, or they're trying to get out or won't get out of a car. Here's how what we're showing you is going to work. Then the virtuality room, like I was saying, you can run through a scenario in the goggles. It becomes like a no-shoot scenario. Okay, you can transition to now you have somebody live in front of you, take them down to the mat, and running all those things simultaneously will be beneficial for us.
Are those mats down on the floor all the time? So
Yeah.
so you don't take them up, put them down. So the room is really a dedicated room. There's no way to use it for anything else. You have to walk on it. You can't set up chairs or anything in there. It's just dedicated to this specific use.
Yes. Yeah.
Are they wall-to-wall mats? Is that how it works? Or
They-
I think they go up the wall too, don't they?
Yeah.
They go up the
So
wall.
they're on 2 of the walls. they go up about 6 feet high, and actually they have what we're having Turner do in the one dedicated room now is to put a plywood to protect the sheetrock from, people going into it through the matting. But yes, it'll be wall to wall, cover the floor, all but I believe a small portion. But that's the intention, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's a good sized room, as I recall. I remember walking through there the last time I was there, and it's a big room. So I was wondering, I looked at the cost, like, wow, that's a lot of money for padding. But when you think about how
It's a lot of matting.
it's a lot. So
Yeah.
it's up the walls too. So okay.
How often do you anticipate the VR in that room being used?
So we have like a trial set we've been using at 39 Locust, and it's been used. I can get you the number, but a tremendous amount of time, and you can actually tabulate the cost savings if officers were actually firing live ammunition versus what the trigger pull and the reps they got doing virtually. It's thousands and thousands of dollars, and our use has been so high that's why we decided, like, as we're trying to figure out what do we do instead of a $200,000-$300,000 system that could become obsolete at some point. These units are exponentially smaller in cost.
I remember we initially talking about was
And,
huge,
and
yeah.
it's just like the technology is great and for what they do, and they offer these hand-eye coordination and just getting on target and sight alignment for the officers. And the other thing is, as we transition to our new firearms, it's the same trigger pull. It mirrors the gun that you're using for virtual reality, so the officer is getting as close to real life trigger pull in practice as they would on the range at no additional cost. So I guess to answer your question, we anticipate it's going to be used often because this is something officers on the shift can just grab, put on. If they need to run out, they just take it off and go.
I was going to ask, when do officers do this? Is it during their shift? Is it overtime?
No, it's usually
hard
during
on
the
your
shift. Yeah. They'll just go up, sign out the equipment and use it on shift. Like I said, and then if a call comes in and they have to go, it's no issue to just take it off and go.
And then the logo on the floor, that's what itemized broken out there. Is that one in each room, and is that one big logo on the center of the floor? Or is there a logo on every?
Each room will have a logo.
Okay.
Yeah. Each room will have a logo on it.
And that just sort of marks the center of the floor, I guess, would be the idea.
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, look, versus what was initially put out by the former chief, which was hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we were going, really? This is certainly, probably a better option. Also, the other system, you had to like train someone to use it like the whole time. And this, you would have to put someone outside. So this is a much more cost-effective one, and probably one that stays more relevant because it's not that big a line item for the virtual reality. So then if things progress, I just hope, this is a lot of research. I just hope that it's used a lot, because, people have their jobs, and it's like, so I just hope it's not a novelty, but a critical part of police officers training.
Yeah, we definitely anticipate it's going to be, our defensive tactics programs are going to be revamped and changed going forward now that we have more availability and they'll be more structured. So that it will be used for sure on duty, off duty. Those rooms.
Do any of our other police departments have this capability? Are they adding it, or is it a training resource that we could make available to other people? And I'm not thinking necessarily for financial purposes, but just for training purposes, so everyone comes up to speed.
So yes, some are. I know Greenwich has a setup. I'm not exactly sure about Norwalk, but we've had officers from Ridgefield that are trying to start their own defensive tactics program that they've come down and see what we have or worked with our trainers. So that is part of the vision as well, is to start doing, hosting multi-agency type training events where it's kind of like pooling resources and getting them as much use out of it as possible. This is something that especially our instructors over the last few years have been very, very excited about. And it's growing in popularity in the culture of law enforcement, just becoming more proficient in defensive tactics as a way of mitigating liability risk, injury risk, and things like that. we're blessed. We've got really, really good instructors and
Did we hire the instructors? Is that?
our own people. We've got them certified. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So they're great and they, they're dedicated to it. So.
Any other questions?
It's
If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the New Canaan Police Department to enter into a contract with Dollamore Sport Surfaces in the amount of $7,939.53 in order to purchase floor mats for the New Canaan Police Department multipurpose training room.
So moved.
second.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe squared. Travel.
Travel. Sorry, Albie.
Good morning.
Morning.
First, not on the agenda, but I'd like to introduce Bill Parrott, our new Assistant Chief, started yesterday.
Good morning.
So I just wanted to,
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Being here.
all right, back to business. So I have two travel requests. Permission to travel to Baltimore, Maryland, June 11th through the 14th for the iChiefs International Hazmat Conference. The hazmat team picks up the cost of the program down there. This is part of our regional team ongoing training that we send many members down there throughout the county. You want me to do them together?
Is that, who pays for that?
Hazmat team. We're a member of the regional hazmat team, so all costs.
Yeah, I was
are,
wondering how you were eating, sleeping, or whatever down there. So,
hazmat team covers it, but
all right.
I guess by the travel request. So yeah, there's no cost to us.
Okay.
As far as town, we pay our annual dues through the hazmat team that covers members going down to the conference.
Okay.
And the second one is for August for International iChiefs Fire Rescue International Conference. So this is Orlando, Florida, from August 12th to the 16th. The estimated cost to the town will be about $1,100 for enrollment and the pre-conference for myself.
Because you really want to be in Orlando between August 12th
Yeah.
and August 16th.
So that's only $1,100, including your flight, hotel, conference.
With the fam for the other half of it. So I have a vacation package that I can use.
Okay.
So, yeah,
All right. Good.
Okay.
so there's no reason for additional.
Excellent.
Any other questions?
No.
All right. So if I could get a motion to approve a request from the fire department for the following expenses in order for Chief Bassett to attend conferences. I guess we'll take them one at a time. The Fire Chief's Hazardous Materials Response Team Conference in Baltimore, Maryland for Chief Bassett from June 11th to June 14th, which is no cost to the community. A motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. And the International Association of Fire Chiefs Rescue International Conference in Orlando, Florida from August 12th to August 16th. Can I get a motion for that?
Estimated cost is
$1,100, sorry, that's $1,100.
so moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And then apparatus repair.
Apparatus. So we would like to enter.
You're spending a lot of time here with the apparatus
Oh.
repair, Albie.
Listen, the ambulance is only 2 years. What are we looking at? We're over 1,000 days for our deliveries.
It's crazy.
But on the other side, 20-year apparatus that, we're keeping on the road. So that's a good thing. Approve the purchase, for a purchase order for Superior Spring Manufacturing in Hamden for a springs repair on the tanker, not to exceed $12,000. This is contingent, once they take the springs off, they're looking at a specific part. If it's broken, it'll push it over 10,000. Otherwise, we're looking at about a $6,500 repair. So they don't know until they take the springs off. So I want to be in a position that we can pay them and have the approval up to 12,000 if they need to replace the saddles that the springs sit on.
So this is the springs that support all the water when it's in there. That's
Yes, this is the rear, one of a couple leaves, 5 leaf springs broke on the left side of the apparatus on the tandem, which put the apparatus out of service. And the spring, it's already up at the shop. They recommend replacing all the springs, all 4 axles, so that so moving forward, so that's the 6,500, and if the saddles need to be replaced, they're just over 2,000 a piece, which pushes us over the $10,000 mark. So that's why I'm asking for the permission. So yeah, fire trucks are tough because they run loaded 100% of the time.
How old is this truck that we're
This
doing?
is a 17 years old now. It's 2008.
And do you remember the last time you had to replace the spring?
Never. These are original. Yeah, this is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, these are original springs.
You said if you have to do the saddles.
And there are
Are there
2.
2 or 4 saddles? Just 2?
There's 2 saddles at 2,600 a
All
piece.
right,
So
I just wanted to make sure. You
yeah,
had enough in this number.
5,200 is the saddles. Once the springs come off, they would know. I was hoping to get that information before today, so I could pull it off, but we didn't get the update yet.
And enough money in your budget for this, right?
Correct.
There's only one provider in the state that does this.
There's other ones. This is ones that we used before and did our research beginning of the year for alignments and so on. So that's why we chose Superior.
I mean, this type of stuff is kind of like with the ambulance. If they think they're the right people to do it, you got to do it.
All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
If not, if I can get a motion to approve a purchase order request from the New Canaan Fire Department with Superior Springs Manufacturing in an amount not to exceed $12,000 for apparatus repair.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, community parking fees.
Good morning. Requesting approval on the recommendation from the Parking Commission to approve the parking permit fees for the upcoming renewal period of September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2026 for the Lumberyard, Richmond Hill, and Talmadge Hill commuter parking lots. These fees are, the recommendation is to keep the fees at their current rate. Lumberyard would be $663.62. Richmond Hill would be $504.10. Talmadge Hill would be $504.10. The Parking Commission also made another recommendation, if I might add it to the agenda, to add a $50 late fee to anyone who does not renew on time.
How much grace period do they have for the not? Is it for a month, 2 months? Like if you had a permit at the Lumberyard and you missed is 9/1 cut off? Is it?
It's cut off if it's not renewed by. So this year, because of
Tricky this year.
I'm sorry.
It was tricky, right? We changed the dates.
But yeah, last year. This year, I think Labor Day falls out on September 1st or around that time period. So we're actually going to put the renewal date to September 3rd. So if they're not renewed by September 3rd, they come in September 4th. That's a recommendation to add the late fee on at that time.
And my question is, you have to renew by you get 1 month, you get 2 months.
Go out about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually start about the 3rd week in July. We're going to get the renewal notices out. It's going to go out in an
We were
email.
going to do that earlier this year because of the problems we had last year.
So what we're planning on doing is we're planning on giving them a so-called heads up in June.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to send out an email saying, hey, your permits are coming up for renewals. You should be getting a renewal notice and a letter in and around when we figure it the 3rd week in July, but I'll have a definite date. You can set up an account at this time. So when renewals become active and the online portal becomes active, you can just renew. And then in July, they will actually get the renewal information. It will go out in an email and it will also go out in a letter. And then prior to the expiration date of their current permit, which is August 31st, we'll send out a reminder. Hey, renewals are due by September 3rd. That's the goal.
Is there any harm in opening the portal when you send that first? I don't know the logistics, but like, I mean, is there any issue with, yes, you have till September 3rd, but if you send that, can you just open it once?
We
the first
usually
notice?
find that sometimes if you give them too much time, somebody will look at it and say, oh, okay, I could do it. And then they forget. We've tried giving them in the
I'm
past.
not saying,
and-
I'm not saying, I'm just saying, you're gonna send this first notice.
Right.
For people like me who
Just
like
do
to
it then.
check things
Right
off my
then and there,
list.
I could double check and
The problem we've had in the
Issues
past.
with you guys.
You may do it and then your husband does it 2 days later because he didn't know you did it. And so all of a sudden we've got 2 people for 1 permit, but we can definitely go out early. And that's the whole point, is that we want to get out there in front of everybody. Last year, the issue, Amy, to remind you, was the online portion was not available to people. So
yes.
that's why when people were away in August, they came back, they couldn't have done it. Even when they were away, they couldn't
But
have
now
done it. We can.
So I would just encourage you to open it up once you send that first. If it doesn't create any chaos in
Yeah,
your
just
your
open up the
office,
port.
just
Okay.
open it. That way, they don't have to do it then, but they have the option because, they got the notice and they might want to just, because some people go away for the
Next
entire
meeting.
summer. Some people,
You just forget.
yeah, that's how I am. I need to get that off my list.
Yeah, we've been
And we
working.
also work, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, we've been working really putting a lot of time and effort into figuring out the exact timing of how we're going to let everybody know and all the reminders.
I also set up an alert so they can sign up for parking alerts on our alert system. And we're going to get that information out there. So we're going to do everything possible to not have what we had last year.
Not to do belts and suspenders and belts, but would it make any sense to just put a sign up at the train stations? Don't forget, renew. I don't know if you need to. I'm just throwing that out as a super easy.
So yeah, that would be.
Assuming
good.
someone looks up from their paper and get their coffee.
Right, yeah.
But you never know.
But yeah, we could absolutely do that. We can get some signs up, to renew your permits when we narrow down a date.
Just for information, can you tell me how many permits we sell at each one of these lots? And we sell multiple times, right?
Sell it.
We oversell it.
Yeah, yeah.
So currently the lumberyard has about 669 permits out. We've currently, and we are still selling because there's still availability. Richmond Hill has only 10 commuter. Nobody really wants that lot because they're going straight to the lumberyard. And Talmadge Hill, I believe, we're like 356, if I'm not mistaken, this year.
And there's availability, right?
Always availability at Talmadge Hill.
In at Lumberyard, I mean, we used to like 10 years to get in.
Yeah,
Is there wait list there now or no?
about 10 people right now on the wait list.
Okay.
Yep. So we are moving down as long as their availability, we're moving down. So my next group of 10 would probably be notified sometime in June. Current group has until May 30th to make their decision.
Okay.
And then we'll reevaluate the space availability with this grouping, and then we'll go from there.
So we have sort of some perspective. How long have these rates that we're keeping flat been in place?
Pre-COVID.
Okay, so pre-2020. So, okay.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yeah.
based on we've looked at the other lots, other towns, these are in line with what everybody's charging. So.
Little lumberyard's a little bit higher, but Greenwich has one lot that they have at 720.
Yeah.
Darien is, in about the 4.5, 450, 458, I think, range.
Yeah, because now with availability, we want to make sure we're competitive, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's one.
That's why I want to keep it flat. I
Yeah.
don't think that.
One of the numbers that you just said is the most surprising. It's 669, it's 356, and then Richmond Hill's 10. So is there a way, given neighborhoods and given some of the businesses that are over on that side of town?
Oh, it is also. It's Richmond Hill is our multi
Yeah.
business lot as well.
So are you saying there's only 10 commuters? Okay,
Yeah,
so
10 permits out in that
so
lot.
how many other permits are out there for that lot?
As far as businesses, I apologize, I didn't bring the numbers, but I would say probably maybe about 50.
How many spaces? Do you know?
It's never full.
I'm just curious.
Get me numbers here. I'm gonna say about 60, 61,
Okay, so
something
it's
like
pretty,
that.
it's fully, I mean, I know we always sell more, but we've sold at least as many as there are spots in the.
It's
Yeah.
not full. We're still able to get people in there.
That's a good,
So,
good analysis
yeah.
to look as how many,
Yep.
how many more we could.
I mean, we used to, it used to be, you know,
Well,
selling your
there's-
first child to get into.
There are
the lumberyard.
7-year waiting lists on
Yeah.
lumberyard.
yeah, there was, if you remember way back, it was about a 12-year wait. And then when the parking department took it over, it went down to half that. And then,
They sold more.
yeah, and then we were able to reduce the wait list to about 600-700 people from 1,200, but it was still 6.5 to 7-year wait.
Yes, this is one of those services or fee, you know, you want to
Mhm.
keep it reasonable because let's be clear, the people commuting are paying the taxes,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
so I think we.
I am slowly seeing people coming back. It's slow, but they are. So, you know.
Well, it's the call to come back to the office full
Yeah.
time in some cases.
JP Morgan, 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5
Yeah,
days.
and you know, and people who have had the lumberyard, and even if they're kind of retired, they kind of hang on to it just because they like to, when they go in once a week, use it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. If there are no further questions, if I could get a motion to approve a recommendation from the Parking Commission to approve the parking permit fees effective September 3rd.
So-
You have September 1 in this.
Yeah,
September
but
1.
they'll have
Okay.
until September. Yeah,
All right,
that's the
September
actual
1 through
permit
August
period.
31st, 2026 for the lumberyard lot, Richmond Hill and Talmadge Hill commuter parking lots as follows. And also the late fee. I'll add the late fee. Lumberyard lot base rate $624 plus sales tax of 39.62 for a total permit fee of $663.62. Richmond Hill lot base rate $474 plus sales tax of $30.10 for a total permit fee of $504.10. Talmadge Hill lot base rate $474 plus sales tax of $30.10 for a total permit fee of $504.10. In addition, to add a $50 late fee for any renewals received past the September 3rd renewal deadline.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Stacy.
Next, business employee permit renewals.
The approval of the recommendation from the Parking Commission to approve the annual premium business permit fees and the free employee business permits effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Morse Court, Park Street are our premium business permit fees. That is to remain at $582.77. And our free business lots for Center School, Locust, and Richmond Hill lots to remain as a free of charge to all employees of the town.
Is it just town employees, not business employees, just who are the employees that qualify?
Employees of the businesses in town.
Thank you.
Yeah, should say it that way.
How many of these premium?
We have a total of 105. We have 60 out in Park Street. We have 21 along the stone wall in Park Street, but that is associated to the business at 170, the building at 175 Elm Street. And we have 25 in Morse Court. So, excuse me, so that would add up to 106. So we have 106 of those premium business permits out.
And they're all taken. Like,
And they're all
is there a wait list on those?
There's a wait list of 2 people on the Park Street lot. Morse Court, no wait list at this time.
We transition off of Elm Street basically to Park Street. You know, just for the record and for people to start understanding this, can you there's no change in terms of those business permits?
Not
that-
at this
that
time.
stays the way it is.
Because
The
there's a
re-
3-hour limit on Park Street currently. So these will allow these people to park all day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then the rest of the lot, you know, it's against the stone wall, but the rest of the lot eventually come whenever we make the change September, that will be free. So that's where that's going to exist.
Yep. Yep. Yep, and some of those business permits will be intermingled in those spaces. And again, it's something that would have to be reevaluated possibly after the initiative takes place to see if we have to, like in Morse Court, we had to reduce them, the amount of business permits out when we redid the lot. So, it's changeable, but right now.
And the spaces that are directly behind us here between the old teen center and
The Playhouse lot,
the Playhouse lot, can you describe what that will be?
that's going to remain paid.
Paid, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Open to anyone.
And the long term, Stacy, on burn, the ones on burn still remain.
Right, those are long-term, those are 6 hours. It's all going to be paid. That'll all remain paid.
I just think with the changes coming, I just don't think we can talk about this enough. I mean, every chance we get, let's talk.
The most important thing is to get the communication out on what's going on.
Right.
When everything is going to take place, all of that, and just how things are going to change, what we're changing to, educate people. There's going to be a lot of changes, and it's going to be a learning curve for people in the town, employees, everybody.
Well, and it's
You know.
so important to stress it's patience and flexibility. I mean, patience, we're all going to learn this together. We're going to
Yes,
be flexible.
absolutely.
If we have to make changes.
Assigned to us.
Yep.
The new, so they're gonna help us with the whole communication plan and. our
Marketing.
Interns are gonna help us with a lot of this as well.
Yeah.
So for those of you in our office, this is gonna be something you're gonna be working on.
And we're going to be out there and we're going to, right off the bat, just be, I'll use the word low key for a while, just to help
Came in day
everybody
one and said
adapt.
kindler, gentler. person. That was my first.
To help everybody adapt to these new
Let's remember,
changes.
there's a lot of free parking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And, it's a lot easier to just go to the free parking here than drive to another town. It's a lovely town. It's beautiful to walk around here. So if people, like if you go into New York City, you take the train, you go anywhere, you're walking a lot. You just are. So I just think we have to kind of get a little bit out of the suburban mentality that you got to park right in front of something. So,
Or if you do, you pay for it.
yeah, that's important. Yeah. And it's not a ton of money.
No.
Yeah.
And remember, we're gonna have a new ramp coming down from the Park Street lot, right? So anybody with a stroller, in terms of the walkability. So there's gonna be a ton of improvements that we're gonna put as part of this.
Yeah.
communication loading.
Zone. So the loading
Yes.
zone will help. We're hoping get some of the trucks off of Elm Street and bring them up and around.
Right.
And then they can use that
Ramp,
ramp to bring their dollies down to make deliveries.
Yeah, so with the delivery, so
Mhm.
and I know these folks are just trying to make a living and stuff, but so like that the trucks who pull up and block it, that's not going to be allowed anymore. They're going to still do it.
We're going to be we have a loading zone.
Yeah.
We're going to be trying to push them. We do that now. We try to move them. We try to direct them where we can. We know deliveries have to be made. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can move them to the loading zone on South Avenue. Hopefully we can move them behind into the Playhouse area so they can utilize that. Will some trucks have to park on Elm Street? They're going to have to, but we'll try to keep them as quick as possible and on the parallel side.
Stacy, can you
Right
talk
hand
about
lane.
which trucks would have to park on Elm Street?
That might be better for the officer who patrols that.
I'm just trying to get a
he-
sense for, what can residents expect? Because with this, we're communicating that we have these loading zones and we want them off the street. So what trucks would not be pushed off of Elm Street? Come on up, Mike. Come on up.
Basically, it's UPS and Amazon that are
Well,
there.
they usually
But they
use the
should be able to
they
go into the-
use
could
the
use the
loading zone mostly
small
because
enough truck.
UPS, like in FedEx, they will use the loading zone and they will make their deliveries up and down the street.
Get the
It's
Baldor truck up onto the loading zone?
And surprisingly, the Baldor truck is one of our better deliverers. They follow the rules. They try to get here early. Especially when we had the other driver, but he's not here anymore. But they're one of our better deliverers.
What trucks couldn't we move off the street?
Well, UPS is just UPS and
That
FedEx.
should be able to go to the loading zone. Well, then there's a ticket.
No, that's
But that one should be easy to move.
some of these companies, as I'm hearing, they're gonna be willing to take the ticket.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's nice revenue for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as far as but these
Getting.
Whole staff up here now.
but no, we can get all the trucks off, but there's gonna be some trucks.
I just thought maybe it was a size issue of getting, that's what I was
So
wondering.
we're gonna have to run I was just talking to Maria about, we're gonna have to run some truck turning templates inside the Playhouse lot to make sure what can actually make it. My first go is probably a tractor trailer is not gonna make that.
And that's what I was
So
expecting.
something, but
But
to
do we
Mike's
get a
point,
lot
like a
of
FedEx truck, your larger Amazon ones will be able to make it, but.
And UPS.
And UPS, yeah,
Okay.
but the larger structure, the larger vehicles at some point in time won't be able to. So
Okay.
we'll run, based upon the layouts that we have, we'll run the truck turning templates and then we'll give it to the
Okay,
parking
great.
authority so that they'll know this size truck has to stay here. This size truck can make it. And then they can take it
Move them
accordingly.
along.
That would be my hope, is that we're getting those UPS, the FedEx, the Amazon. I don't know if Baldor can fit up there or not, but
Right. Well, yeah, we'll run it for several scenarios and then we'll find out exactly what it is. And then at that point in time, we'll know whether they can or they can't. If they can't, then obviously they can stay. If they can, then obviously at that point in time, you get to give them the move along speech.
Okay.
I've seen certain towns have hours where they want deliveries done. And then after that, you have to be off the street. I mean, is there any
But-
way, I know we've talked about it in the past and it's difficult to tell these companies that they can only deliver.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, Greenwich has that in certain areas. You would have to, the businesses would have to have somebody available to take the deliveries. And I think that has been the sticking point where
issue is I didn't want it.
Well, it's a hardship to the business to have somebody there.
Have
like at
somebody
6 o'clock
there.
in the morning or something.
But could you request it? Probably, we could set it if they were to come earlier. I know, like I said, I know Greenwich does it, possibly Westport, I'm not 100%. But I know there are certain towns that do only expect deliveries at a certain time, but that would have to have somebody available at the stores.
And that's something, I mean, Laura and Bud can help with that. And that's sort of, to me, that's like phase 2 of
Right,
this
right.
whole thing. But, it's important for everybody to understand, again, getting back to flexibility and patience. No matter, the reason we want to park there is to go get something. And everything comes by truck. Nothing is flown in. I mean, it's just, this is
Yeah.
the
At
way it
least
is.
yet.
That's true. It's just the way it is. Everything arrives by truck, so.
Okay.
Quickly with the loading zone though on South Avenue, we would need a bigger loading zone. That loading zone is
Too short.
it's the trucks are doing the best they can using it, but we need more loading zone space if you want to have.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So if I could get a motion to approve a recommendation from the Parking Commission to approve annual premium business permit fees and the free employee business permits effective July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 for Morse Court, Park Street, Center School, Locust Avenue, and Richmond Hill lots as follows. Morse Court and Park Street lots, base rate $547 plus tax of $34.11 for a total permit fee of $582.77. And the Center School lot, the Locust Avenue, and the Richmond Hill lots free of charge for approved employee business permits.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Irrigation system replacement.
Good morning. So with our irrigation system replacements, this is something that we came to you a while back to get Mead Park approved to be put in over the winter. And the weather didn't allow us to do that. And since then, we have delayed the contractor for Mead Park through the spring because of two things. Capo Field wasn't done, so we really needed the baseball field all the time. And we also don't want to affect the tennis courts. So we've delayed Mead Park until tentatively September 30th, which by the time they get to the tennis courts, our tennis will be winding down. But we're here today for Saks and Connor Field. Those systems run off the same well. And so when we went out to bid for Mead Park, we also went out for Saks and Connor, but we needed more money in the budget to be able to afford to do that. So the money is, not all of the money was approved. We came for 175,000 because we already had money from previous years to cover it. So we're looking for approval to replace all the sprinklers, pipes, and the control system at both Saks and Connor of $347,700 with a contingency of 10% of $34,770 for a total of $382,470. The same contractor that was awarded Mead Park is the low bidder. And all the bid specs have been approved by our irrigation designer, and we look forward to working with them. And they have a tentative date of June 23rd to start, which is perfect with the school being closed.
So, John, how old is the irrigation system currently?
Part of Saks is about 35 years old. Not all of it, though. When the stadium used to be there, that part was redone. But that is 23, 24 years. So it's time. Connor Field is about 10 to 12 years. But we've had some issues with some of the piping down there. And since they're fed off the same well, it makes sense to do everything at the same time.
These companies that bid look like large companies, and I'm not recognizing any of these names like local irrigation companies. I mean, these are just, they do fields, I guess, right? Is that?
They do fields and of course, golf courses, large properties like that. Our main lines will be high density poly, which has a special fusing machine for it. And then the rest will be all PVC. A lot of this,
I mean, you're talking about all new pipes, like
all new pipes, control wires,
all new heads,
controls, all new heads. So
big job.
Wow, that'll be ready for, they'll be done before preseason for like, soccer and.
They are hoping to be done by August 1st. That's the intent. But with that, we have till about the 15th. So, and they're going to start on Saks School, which is the most important one for school coming back. So
That's the only thing. I'll get more letters from anybody in this community if we don't have fields ready for preseason.
Oh, there's a lot of things you'll get. Yeah, no, I think you're okay on that.
Yeah.
Okay, Beck, where this is money's approved.
the money, we had money previously approved, but in this year's bonded capital budget, there was 175,000 for irrigation system upgrades, which allows us to have enough to do these fields, to do Saks and Connor too.
Because we haven't done Mead.
No, there's still enough money to do Mead. That contract's still in place. The 175,000 is enough to allow us to do both of these sets of systems. I think I made that more confusing.
350,000.
So is the remainder for?
Yeah, where's the extra money?
The extra money is from previous year purchases, or not purchases, approvals. Yeah, we were getting about 100,000 a year approved for irrigation systems.
Okay, so the cumulative authorization is sufficient to cover.
Yes.
This.
Thank
All
you.
right. I was just kind of going.
Yeah, where's the extra?
Okay. Hey, by the way, what does it cost? I mean, many of us have irrigation systems. What do we end up having to pick up every year for heads? You know, when you maintain them, do you guys do that, or do we hire that out?
Ryan and his staff take care of most of the repairs.
Okay, so that keeps it much cheaper if you're just putting the number in of what the head costs and not the labor costs on it.
Unfortunately, the heads we use are a little bit more expensive than what you'd use at your home.
Well,
but
okay, all right. So there's plenty of authorization in it over multiple years. That's
thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Are the controls, the new controls where you guys will have like an app that you can control, like if there's a drought situation or something, you can turn them on a little bit more? Or?
Well, we're required to have rain sensors on all our systems anyway, so they'll have that, so they'll automatically shut down a certain amount of rain. But yes, we will have control through phones, apps on the phones, and also computer controlled system, so that the programming and everything can be done any place that we have.
Oh, that's great.
Actually, any place we have an internet connection. So.
And whose job is that? Okay.
Ryan also has an irrigation technician that does a lot of the repairs, and we'll be introducing him more and more to programming, proper water management. So
So this encompasses, you picture Saks, it's the baseball field, basically all the
Field.
flat, all the way back.
Yep.
Right. All the way back. Okay.
And then all the
Wow,
way
that's
into Connor?
And then, yes, we run a main line from that system along the edge of the woods behind the playground, all the way to Connor Field to water that baseball field and soccer field there.
A lot of watering.
A lot of watering. Actually, our well's right at its limit with the amount of water. We have to do some fancy scheduling to water them both. But.
Great.
All right. Just
All
make
right.
sure the geese aren't taking showers over there, will you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a contract with National Lawn Sprinklers in the amount of $347,700 plus a contingency of $34,770 for a total cost of $382,470. The project entails the installation of irrigation piping, sprinklers, and controls at Saks and Connor Fields.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Okay, so in a follow-up with that, our irrigation designer, Mike Astrom with Northern Designs, will do our marking of sprinkler locations and also overseeing the job of both of these. So we're requesting a total of $14,305. That includes a 10% contingency of $755, and that's only a contingency on Saks and Connor. We don't think we're going to use it. If for some reason we use the contingency on Saks and Connor, since they're being installed first, we'll come back and look for more approval, but we don't think we need to. So this will allow us to have the designer's eyes on the installation, make sure the high density poly is installed properly, and the locations for everything are where they should be. So.
And this is, it's part of the entire project, which is why it's available to be bonded, right?
Yes.
It's part of the
it.
soft costs involved.
It's part of the whole project, yes. And the money is available.
All right, so if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into 2 contracts with Northern Designs for construction administration of the replacement of irrigation systems at Mead Park and Saks Connor Fields as follows. Saks and Connor, $7,550, Mead Park, $6,000, a contingency of $755 for a total of $14,305.
Second.
It's unanimous.
John, useful life on this. How long is it going to last? Because the Connor's only a 10 and the other one's a 35.
There's a 10. I think we're going to be up around 20 years. With that said, 2 years in, we'll be replacing sprinklers and things like that. You could have an irrigation leak, et cetera, and have to fix the main.
But you guys fix that, yeah.
Yes, we'll fix. We do most of our repairs. We wouldn't be able to fix if we had something happen to the high density poly. That's something you definitely hire a contractor, but PVC pipe repairs, sprinkler changes, et cetera.
What
20
type of
years.
guarantee do we have from this company?
They have 1 year. They actually have to come and make sure everything's up and running and then winterize it for the first year. We regularly take care of the winterization and start up ourselves.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
EPDM.
Yeah, that's the crumb rubber we use on our synthetic fields. So it's the same crumb rubber,
Natural rubber.
natural rubber.
What is it called? Tiger, what's the term? Virgin rubber.
Virgin rubber.
I just want to make sure we are very clear on what we are using. It's not crumb rubber. It's virgin. What is it called? Virgin rubber. Virgin rubber. Okay.
It's a synthetic product, right? It's not rubber from rubber trees, right?
It's not rubber from
Not
rubber
organic.
trees. I couldn't tell you what the 4 letters stand for.
It's not
It's not-
old tires and
Yeah, no, I get
it's not.
clean.
Yep. Yeah. It's clean. That's a better word.
Clean. That's one reason why we require it, and that's the other reason why it's so expensive. So with Capo Field, I don't know exactly what happened with the contractor, but they basically ordered an extra truckload, which is good for us because it saves us about 20% on the purchase of the rubber. Over the years, we need to top dress the existing fields with the rubber to add back. We lose a little bit in everybody's shoes as they leave, plowing snow, et cetera, that type of stuff. So we need to keep the Gmax rating, which is the rating of how soft the field is. Keep that up, and by top dressing with some rubber, this helps. So we're looking to purchase 20 sacks that are on site for $1,252.50 a sack, for a total of $25,050. There'd be no contingency on this, and it'd be a straight purchase, and then we'll be top dressing the fields.
How big are these sacks?
Huge. Go look over.
Pounds, and probably about 8 feet tall, you know, in the size of a standard pallet.
And that's, that's going to be an annual expense on these fields. Now Capo's
Not
adding to it now.
not an annual expense.
Okay.
But it is an expense for maintaining these fields.
Every 2 years, 3 years?
3 years. A little bit depends on how the field's holding up. As they get older, you might need a little bit more rubber to keep the Gmax rating, the EDPM. I'm sorry.
So how long do you think these 20 sacks of EPDM will last us?
We will use them all up, hopefully this summer.
Really?
Yes, because the fields need a top dressing. Dunning being older, that needs
So we aren't
probably.
going to have to store this for years and then potentially have it like deteriorating or, okay.
Around your shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we need
You
to,
envision using all of this year. We would have purchased it anyway. We're just getting a 20% discount because
they had it.
the supplier brought too much with them.
Taking advantage of that.
Yep. I'm all for doing that. Okay.
Well, we've done Dunning. We've top dressed that over the years, and we're taking care of what we have. I mean, that's a
We did it 3 years ago. Yeah. So it does.
That field gets a ton of use.
A ton of use, and plowing it. Everything that we do, when we brush it, that causes some wear on the field. You have to do all this stuff, but
Thing turn around in that field you thought was brand spanking new is like, how old is the Dunning field? 5?
I know it's over 5 years old because it's the replacement of the carpet for
Been around
Dunning
too long.
and the water towers is already in our 5-year capital plan.
Right. Yeah.
I think Dunning is 3 more years.
To get replaced?
Yeah, but I'm not positive. I can let you know.
Yeah, we'll look in your capital plan for that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you.
If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a contract with Atlantic Sports Group in the amount of $25,050 for the purchase of 20 super sacks of EPDM rubber and infield material used at the synthetic turf fields.
So
Second.
It's unanimous. All right, bleacher repairs.
All right, my turn. So on behalf of the New Canaan Parks Department, I am here seeking approval to enter into contract with Vasco Welding for essential repair work on the home side bleachers of Dunning Stadium. Last fall, a failure occurred in the railing and support posts of the home side bleacher. While the Parks Department was able to make temporary repairs to maintain safety, it is important permanent repairs are completed to ensure the long-term safety and structural integrity of the bleachers. The proposed scope of work by Vasco Welding LLC includes fabrication of heavy-duty aluminum support brackets, replacement of damaged upright posts, installation of custom aluminum plates to replace the failed brackets, and the total cost for this project is $13,800. We have included a 10% contingency of $1,380, bringing the total project budget to $15,180. Funding for this project is available from a fiscal year 2026 capital bonded bleacher repair account, and that's everything.
This is important.
Yeah, safety.
I just, quick question on, do we just use Vasco? Are they kind of the welder we use? Like,
The owner of Vasco Welding used to be the town's welder. The key for us was the way the brackets are made.
Okay.
He's gonna actually manufacture the bracket all himself. So he was willing to come out here and work with us to figure out what we needed to. So yes, we reached out to one welder because when we talked to another company, they had a completely different plan,
Mhm.
and it was similar to what's there, that it's failing. There's a little angle iron bracket that's bending, so.
Okay.
So the railing we're reusing, it's the support of the railing that, because that's where everyone like gets excited and pushes in a game and, you know.
Yeah, there's an I-beam that comes out.
Right.
And it's the attachment to that I-beam. He's making new brackets
Mhm.
and installing.
Railing's in good shape, the actual railing, okay.
I mean, he does great work, so and this seems pretty reasonable for what it is.
Okay. Yep. All right. So if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a contract with Vasco Welding LLC in the amount of $13,800 plus a contingency of $1,380 for a total cost of $15,180. The project entails the repairs to Dunning Stadium bleachers.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Thanks.
All right, lightning detection system.
Okay, so the Parks Department is also seeking approval to enter into a contract with Turf Products Corp. For the supply and installation of new lightning detection systems for our outdoor recreation facilities. Our current lightning detection system was purchased and serviced through the same trusted company over 10 years ago. And our department planned and budgeted for its replacement in fiscal year 2025. Hence why we are here today. This new system will actively detect lightning within a 20-mile radius and signal alerts when a lightning strike is detected within a 5-mile radius. After 30 minutes of clear skies, the system will automatically signal an all clear alert notifying safe conditions. The total amount for this project with no contingency is $99,980. The money is available and budgeted within the fiscal year 2025 lightning detection system account.
Okay, so you know what I'm gonna ask. So it's over 50. I only see one bid.
It's definitely, you only see one bid, you're correct. It's one of those, the reason we went with this system in the first place over 10 years ago was the fact that it actually detects lightning. So it's the premier one that most golf courses use, because instead of getting there's a chance for lightning and then you have the alerts and then people don't pay attention to it.
So is there only one lightning detection?
Only company out
provider?
there that's really doing it this way with the ability. We have two systems in town.
Okay,
So the one sensor sits on Irwin House right now, which will be moved to on top of Irwin Barn. That's actually the sensor that detects lightning for West School, Irwin Park, and Mead Park.
okay.
The other one will be on the Saks Garage where it presently is. And that one takes care of all the other systems, which
So are both the current lightning detection systems provided by this Turf Products
Correct.
company?
And there is also a trade-in for our old two systems. So it wasn't substantial, but it is a trade-in, so.
Turf Product is the local dealer
Okay.
for the strike guard system.
So what differentiates this lightning detection system from the other?
The other is the fact that really that it's detecting actual lightning
is
instead
it?
of actually
How do you have a lightning detection system that doesn't detect lightning?
detecting the chance of lightning, that conditions
Oh.
are favorable to lightning.
Okay, so one is more, so this one just detects lightning, or does this detect the chance of lightning?
No, this detects actual lightning within 20 miles. And then we have it to alert within 5 miles of the sensors. That's the reason we like this system the best.
So that people might pay attention. If it goes off too much, they won't pay attention.
Well, that's it. This will go off. And we also has the ability for the all clear system. If we have a 15-minute lightning storm, the strobe light will be going for 45 minutes because it's 30 minutes after the last lightning strike when there's an all clear tone and the strobe light goes off.
So how far would someone be able to hear this announcement? You know, we've been up at events at, you know, on Dunning or where you hear, but now that we've got the new Capo Field and, you know, are we talking about stretching to the pool, to Waveney Lawn, or how far out are we?
The sensor itself being on Saks Garage notifies the annunciation boxes, so to speak. So for Capo Field, there's one a roadway from the pool. which works great for the pool, and also Copple Field. There's one by the storage building at the track, which they'd also hear, and one on top of the Dunning entrance building right there. So you would definitely hear it. It's a loud horn. We don't have it set to go off overnight. So we,
So there's hours that it would be active.
there's certain hours when it will actually announce when it's dark out. We're not.
Yeah, well, you can hear it.
I've heard him house, yeah.
Distinct strobe as well, and two distinct different noises for the all clear alarm versus the alarm signaling, the lightning.
So this is gonna last 10 years.
It's going to last about 10 years. Yes.
Know what it cost 10 years for? Because I'm sure it was less. And what type of, does this need maintenance? They have to keep it up? I mean, it's an electronic, what is electronics or something?
It is all electronics.
And what if it fries? I mean, can something fry? I mean, what type of warranty and all that jazz do we have with this?
We get the year warranty on the
That's how it
system.
goes, yeah.
What we've been doing in the past is every other year, we have the service technician come down and check to make sure everything's all right. But we also can take care of a lot of the things. More than anything, something goes wrong, it's getting scrambled. Just, electronics, you need to power it down and power it back up.
Well, it's like IT support. Turn it off, turn it on. Okay.
Exactly. But I have to say, that's minimal. If we have problems with it in the year, it might be one of the annunciation boxes. Yes, a strobe light can go bad, that type of stuff.
So there's no service contract with this. You just call them out when you notice it's not working.
Right, usually every other year. And we don't usually call them out for, during that time. I like having them check.
Yep.
That they go through it. They're the service technicians. So
does the current system works, right?
system works. We are noticing some problems with it. We've had multiple problems with the annunciation box up at Irwin this year. So
If it's a 10-year life expectancy, it's $10,000 a year for something that's critically, a safety issue. So, I mean,
it is
to me, and I've certainly been on the field with some aggressive coaches that have, in the past said, hey, it's only lightning. Let's keep going. So this is important to put it out there.
We have the policy. If you hear thunder, even if it doesn't go off, you need to leave. Do they all leave? I agree. There's some aggressive coaches out there.
But with those tones going off, if they're still out there, I mean, come on.
Look at the why makes you get out of the indoor pool.
That's
thunder
correct.
and lightning.
Oh, really?
That's crazy. They do. Yeah.
But that's important for, the leagues to make sure that all the coaches know that if those things go off, you're out. So.
All righty.
To go along with the system as well, we do have signs posted on all of the outdoor facilities. So that's just another point to make.
When's it going in? How quickly? I'm sure it's a quick install, right? To go one out with the new one in?
Well, the biggest change will be that we have to put a sensor on top of Irwin Barn instead of on top of the house, but that's not the end.
And the app on Ryan's phone. So.
All right.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a contract with Turf Products Corp. in the amount of $99,980 for the purchase and installation of a new lightning detection system for outdoor recreational facilities.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
No contingency on that.
We have to come back. We'll come back. Thank you.
All right. Train station repairs. Bill, Tiger.
Morning. Give me a second here. Train station repairs. So we have a few on the agenda here for you folks this morning. Train station repairs. This is for the Talmadge Hill platform over the winter. As we all know, that platform is quite old. Metro North came up and discovered there was some ponding of water on the platform. So they had marked it off with plywood so people don't slip on ice there, and asked us to make the repair. Obviously, you can't do that in the winter. So we had went out there with a few contractors, Fortino Escalante came in to do, be able to cut them sections out. It's a little involved because it's a hollow platform, and to remake those repairs to keep the water from ponding up so we can reduce the ice buildup. So we're seeking approval for the $11,000 to contract Fortino Escalante with a contingency of $2,200 for a total cost of $13,200. Money from this type of work comes from the railroad fund, not from a tax base. It's from the actual revenues produced, and it's DOT. DOT owns the platform. Metro North uses it. We maintain it.
So it's old, and if it has to be replaced, who has to pay to replace it?
DOT. We've been arguing that for a few years now, and we're on a list.
All right, so
Yes.
basically this is self-funded by the railroad fund. We just it's got that lousy piece of plywood on that you gotta fix, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get that plywood off. It's a tripping hazard at present. That's what we're concerned with, so.
And there were some other repairs that were, didn't come to the threshold of 10,000 or a little less than that to do some other railing repairs and such as.
It's not aluminum, it's still wood?
No, it's concrete platform. It's got aluminum railings and they screwed down plywood over.
So they're
the
gonna just gonna
years.
cut out a piece and just pour new whatever. they
Yeah,
got.
just it's falling basically just to make those repairs. There was three areas that we identified.
Okay.
All right.
That'll do it.
Any other questions? If not, if I get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Fortino Escalante in the amount of $11,000 plus a contingency of $2,200 for a total project cost of $13,200. The project entails station platform repairs.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Okay, Parks, lamp post and fixtures.
So this is phase two of a two-phase project. Last year, if you recall, we received the first approval to order the lamp posts for phase one. And speaking with the F&M Electric, they agreed to hold their prices the same as what they bid it on. So to take advantage of that and order the rebalance of the lamp posts to finish phase two. There's budget was approved for the 2025 budget of $280,000 towards this. And I'll come back to you in a future date to get the approval for the contractor to install them. These take time to get, and I'd really love to see these things come in by fall. Maybe we can pull this off and get it done before the end of the year on the try. It all depends on how far out it takes to get them. Last time it took us 6-7 months to get the first order.
Beats the ambulance.
Okay.
This is the only supplier of these lamp posts.
When we send it out to bid, we send it out to other supply houses, and F&M was the only one to actually bid it.
Last year,
Yeah, they were the only ones that bid it.
so we only got one bid because I'm like, it's like the third thing that's over 50.
Ties it. Yeah, no, it was up there. We knew that,
It's
and
one lamp style too, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
No, well, it's
One
not a
lamp.
unique lamp style
Right,
though.
right.
I mean, while it is, we love them. There
Other
are
people-
other people make those. So that's why I'm.
Other people supply, it's Sternberg is the only.
Excuse me?
It's a Sternberg fixture is what we're
Okay.
buying. Then Sternberg sells it to
Right,
wholesale,
so,
sells it to us.
right, I mean, but I can't imagine other electrical supply places don't supply this brand.
It depends, yes. No, we fall into that category of certain supply houses will sell certain brands
Mhm.
and certain supply
Yeah,
houses.
no, I get it,
Yeah.
but it's still a brand that's it's a distribution. It's not they're not making it. So
Yeah.
it's not a custom
Right,
piece. So I just, it's enough that I would like to make sure that when there's $161,000. I mean,
Sure.
it's not nothing and it's over 50,000. So this is about the third thing today
Mhm.
that we are approving without bidding. And not for this year.
Right,
Right.
we asked them to hold their price. That's
Okay.
correct.
All right,
F&M
so
has-
that one, at least you went to bid on that one. I can live with that. I'm not liking how much stuff we're approving over the $50,000 limit that hasn't had an RFP.
Right, we can understand that. It was just that we bid it before.
Yep.
They were and they've been our supplier for a long time, I
and
guess.
they held the price,
It's-
right?
Yeah,
And
and
yes.
that in this environment, that's
Price,
Yep.
that's correct.
Okay.
That was the reasons why. If not, we were going back out to bid.
okay.
You're
Yep.
100% correct.
And to note also, in some cases, even if it's under 50, I still push the bidding process through on some of these items because they can be very subjective. So why not, you know, go out to bid if it's worth it.
Can we go directly to Steinberg or that's,
Yeah.
that's,
We tried that. We also tried to actually make the casting for it. And it came out that it was same cost pretty much for us to make the casting and then make our own. Back with time with Gary Conrad, we looked at that, to be quite honest with you. Yeah.
we're a
I was
pretty
gonna
big
say.
consumer of Steinberg lampposts. You'd think
Yeah.
that we'd be
Yeah.
qualify as a wholesaler.
Right. We did, I was able to have a machine shop manufacture some parts for us to make repairs on them when they're getting hit, and that seems to be working out. It was a $250 part to have a machine shop make, and these lamp posts here are $5,385 each. So I'm buying in volume. When we buy one at a time, they're about $7,000. And if I only buy one, it's an $800 shipping charge. And I'm like, you know, you're killing me here. So we try to take advantage in volume when we can here.
So, and this is again, phase 2 of the replacement.
this is-
So we
it's only
already have
two-phase
like the
project.
ones going in, and this is just to order them, and then you'll come back for the approval for the electrical.
Yeah, for the electrical and the contractor for the installation. That's correct.
The first phase is already covered with an electrical contractor and the installer. I'm not extending that yet because I didn't have a chance to talk to them, and I want to see how it goes with the first phase as we get those going, and then we'll.
Yeah, and then when you come back with that, when we do it, it'd be great to know, okay, this is what we spent phase 1, the
Sure.
installation, phase 2, purchase and installation, how that compares with where we thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just always good to know kind of what the entire project cost is.
What's the oldest lamp that we have in town? I mean, life
That's
expectancy.
that's them. As far as postcode, Waveney's, yeah, those are very old.
The oldest Steinberg, the new.
Oh.
lights that we have. I mean, are we on year 10 of?
Oh, no, some of them last since their inception.
Yeah.
So we have some on Elm Street that were the original installation that we have not replaced.
Yeah, so that's.
It's really, we were only replacing them on a knockdown.
Yeah.
So we have some that have that seem to have a target on them and that we're trying to work on, but others, some locations just seem to get hit more corner force than east. So we're looking at trying to do something there to stop that. But the majority of them are all the original installation with the original plaque from the donor back in.
Which is what year though?
That was 2001, 2002, I think it was. So we're talking
Like, how
20
long do
plus
you
years.
think we should have one of these lampposts last if it doesn't get hit?
Oh, I don't want to say somebody hits it, but they should last because they're die cast and they're holding up pretty good. The newer ones are even
Still
better.
haven't given me like 50 years, like
A long, until they get hit,
20
that's what I'm
plus.
hearing.
It's a 20 plus. We have problems with
We got 30
I
years
feel
out
like we
of
just-
Steinberg's that were at the train station.
Okay.
The biggest culprit is really animals
Dogs.
and salt. And since then, they've come up, they improved the technology on when they produce these things, manufacture them. And I also now, for a $250 fee, we have them coated at the factory to protect them from the acids from the animals and also from the salt. So we installed a few of them, so I don't have any history on it to see if that was worth the little investment. Hopefully it is, but I just automatically now apply them to all the lampposts. It'll also keep them from fading out. If you look at the older ones, they're not that nice shiny black, and we're kind of fading out a little bit. And we did look in, well, do we paint them? What do we do with them? So we're still kind of milking that along, trying to figure out what's the best method to make the old ones look new. But we are.
So how many do you, because I feel like a couple meetings ago, we replaced. Yeah, so was that just the electrical work we
Yeah,
approved?
that was
That
installing
was
the
just
ones
the
we had.
installation. So, but did you already have the lampposts for those? So that was a certain, so these are just going to be inventory, or do you have,
Oh, these are going.
where are they going to go?
They're replacing all the current ones that are up at Waveney Park.
So all of Waveney will be done
Park,
with this.
Right.
You will not be coming back to Waveney for 20, 30 years because you've done the ones down by the carriage barn and now all the
There's
rest.
almost 70 lampposts in Waveney Park.
Okay, but this will take care of all of Waveney.
second phase,
Okay.
right? The
All
first
right, I
phase,
just want to
we-
make sure because
we had to buy
it's
them.
trying to keep track of all the different locations. So, okay, so Waveney's done for all of our tenure. Right? I mean, I just want to make sure all of our, unless something gets knocked done.
Depends which one.
Yes.
We also talked about how obviously they're very attractive, but B, they do provide safety. And,
Yep, yep.
if people, there's so many people walking around now in Waveney there.
These will make a noticeable difference up at Waveney Park, this style versus what was up there, the old halogens. These are a little bit
So
much nicer and they just perform better. And they're the same ones that we have in our streets here.
Yeah.
So.
So we've done Waveney now with this. Do we have like a gap of, unless something gets hit, of
Time when we don't need to buy any?
Yeah.
Yes.
like how long do you think? What will be the next thing you come to us?
Father Peter's Lane's gonna get done next.
Stop. We have no lampposts there.
We only have a plan for extending up along Main Street to in front of Vine Cottage. We have about 6 lamps that are there, that the bases are already in, the pipes are already in. We just need to put the boats up and call it a day. Other than that, we don't have a plan for any expansion anywhere. We did look at trying to install them on Pine Street as part of the work that's going to be going on. We just couldn't fit it in the right of way.
Okay.
So we couldn't get the lamppost and then still keep an accessible route in the right of way. So in essence, we're looking at the next would be having to replace what was installed on Elm Street back in early 2000s when Mike Abderinos did that initial work. So we don't have anything planned at present.
Okay.
The only other one is the center school lot. What are we doing?
That's it. Yeah, but that's already in the budget.
Yep.
That's a different lamp.
Yep.
So the center school.
Yeah,
lot-
it's
center school
not the
parking
ones,
lot,
these are different ones,
Little
because they're
different,
the,
yeah.
like the down, like, yeah, okay.
Very similar to the ones that we installed at the train station just last year.
Great. Any other questions?
Yep.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with F&M Electric in the amount of $161,550 plus a contingency of $8,077 for a total project cost of $169,627. The project entails the purchase of 30 lamp posts and fixtures for Waveney Park.
Second.
It's unanimous. All right, here we go. Waveney
Waveney.
ADA project.
So we have a change order for our current work on the elevator itself. In essence, to bring us to fruition as far as getting the final specifications and the design on the shaft, the enclosure for the elevator. We had a design for the elevator itself. The enclosure was a design that would have to be created in place in situ, as far as, because the area that we had chosen was very, very tight. So after several design changes and tweaks, we were able to finally finalize that design of the enclosure itself, and then go to the contractor and ask for how much exactly the enclosure would be. He only carried a certain amount of money in his original bid, $72,000, to carry that enclosure. And we knew at the time that the specifications were not there, and the design would actually have to become forthcoming. And we had money set aside in the budget for that. So now we're looking to come to you for this final change for the elevator itself. It's been a long-standing project so far. We've done a considerable amount of work. The project was originally bid in 2020. I believe we finished the exterior entrances and the work at the loge in around 2022. And then the bathrooms were completed in 2024 into 2025. And now we're looking to finish the elevator. We've done a lot of the work associated with the preparation as to its location and where it will start in the basement and end in the attic. And we are at present under design for the elevator itself, for the cab. That has a 32-week lead time, as we had mentioned. And we're only slated for the fact that we can, in essence, work in the area from the end of December to the end of March, when we take the building out of service for weddings and other events. So we're kind of limited on in an entire year's worth of work, we get 3 months at time. So we're setting ourselves up for next December, late December, early January, to come in, receive the elevator itself, and then finish the work for the elevator install, hopefully by the end of March. So the contractor has given us a construction order at a net of $395,800. We added a contingency of $60,000 for a total of $455,800. And we have monies available from the original allocation of funds that we had, plus we had received $200,000 in this year's budget for this thought going forward, that we knew we were going to need a little bit of more money in the budget. We received that as of with the bond authorization in May. So he gave you a kind of a breakdown of every item, that was how it associates with what is required for the net change then that change order, and we're happy to take any questions you might have.
Something, we use the term change order. That's an interesting term for any change to the value of a contract. Technically, this wasn't a change. It was always planned on. It just wasn't, it did not fit into the original bid document because there was this unknown about how to make it work correctly until we had gotten a lot of information. So instead of having everybody just shoot from the hip and guess at what it would cost to do it, the method here was to, we'll have the allowance on the side to build this, but let's get it right and not overprice it or underprice it. So.
But there are true changes that have occurred in this,
That's correct.
this bill.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to think that
No.
this has been a totally smooth, because of the
Yeah.
issues with an old house
Yeah.
and the structure of an old house.
Related to this elevator enclosure, that's all.
You're not going to be coming back anymore for this elevator because we now know this includes the electrical
You should be in good shape.
and of the electrical
Relocation.
in the
Basement.
in the shaft.
That's correct.
And it includes the modification of the elevator design to fit the shaft so that we can save the staircase.
Correct. Save the staircase and save the
Mhm.
paneling all around it. So we were able to size it correctly to fit within inches of the staircase itself. So we don't have to modify the staircase and we don't have to modify the paneling in that inset area as well. So we're not touching any of the walls. It'll sit directly in the middle and then go up from there and down from there.
I'd like to invite, obvious, to
This
contact me.
includes the whatever we're gonna need for the special finishing of
Burnishing of it.
the burnishing,
Yes,
this, all of that is included in this.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Can I add two, just on top? So, and then, as the elevator goes up and it opens onto the second floor, that's all included too,
Yep,
how it opens.
It's all
up
in there.
Visually,
It's
right?
all in there. Yep.
Yeah, the connections, the removal of the railing, the landing itself, and then the repair of the opening in the ceiling and the repair of the ceiling as well.
Right.
So
Sorry, Jim, I should.
Chandeliers out in there too.
That's in there too. I'd like to invite you out. We've finished the elevator room in the basement and the overrun in the attic. And so if you'd like to call me, I'll set up a time and take you over there and walk you through and show where we're actually at and the project. We're in really good shape right now to get this going after Christmas.
so when you say removal of the railing, where are you removing railing?
it's on the second floor. There's a railing on the second floor that
One section.
one.
So the
section-
door's open so you can walk
Elevator
out.
opens
Yep,
up to
yep,
that landing.
yep, yep. So
just
there
that
was a
part.
railing
Yeah.
there. And so
Yeah.
will you have will it take, it's not going to take the entire space. So you'll have railing dying into the elevator and
Yep.
railing from each
Yep.
end.
If
Okay.
the current railing there is going to stay that and just take that one
Yeah.
section out. And we're going to wrap it up and we're going to put it in attic just to save it because we can.
We met with SHPO at the time and
Mhm.
SHPO was comfortable with the removal of the railing and they just wanted us to save it in case we ever take the elevator back out again. We can then take the elevator, the railing out of storage and replace it. So we'll wrap it and keep it in storage. But they were comfortable with how we were handling that, that portion of the removal. It's in order, the elevator doors open, the railing's right in front of you. We have to remove the railing in order to get onto the landing.
Just, so you know, a lot of the elements that were removed for this project and a couple other projects has historic value to them. We did not get rid of them. We're saving them. They're wrapped up in the attic, the old bathroom, showers, the stuff that we can actually save. We saved. We have the room in the attic to do that. And if anything had changed, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 years from now, you want to put it back, everything's upstairs. So.
I think people have to, like those of us who've been messing around with this since 2017, 18, right? This is all precipitated by ADA requirements, at the federal level. Flip side too is, as a community, if we're using this building for everybody, we want it accessible to everybody. So this has been a long running project. And, from the time I was in board finance, you've been in town council, Deanna, you would take care of the schools. We basically had this asset that we bought and ignored it forever. And then starting, it was like 2017, we kind of said, this place needs some work. We also had, the ADA requirements that were in place for a while. So, so we have basically invested in this town building. We started with a roof project that was 2.3 million, and this is a
Well, yeah,
100-year-old
I mean,
building.
go back to your first point.
Yeah.
The first number we saw was a big number. I mean, you remember what that number was? I think it was like 20.
Yeah,
26
way back
million.
when there was an estimate, what do you need to do to bring Waveney up? And I think it was 25 million. I think,
25, 26 million.
right,
that's correct.
25. Yeah, so just so people know, so we basically obviously started with the roof, and that included some electrical work and everything. And then the next big chunk of the project was this whole, you can call it ADA, but this whole interior accessibility. So we spent a lot of money. If anyone's been in Waveney, I don't know who designed it, but there's everywhere you go, there's a level change. You cannot believe how many level changes are. So the first part of the ADA work that everyone got done was so that you could get into the building and negotiate around the first floor if you were ambulatory challenged. So, and then including the deck. So we did that. And then we also had to put in bathrooms, more bathrooms and ADA accessible bathrooms. And they're on the second floor. And on the first floor, we made a family bathroom. Do I have the correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And so yeah, and this was a whole process, and that when it happened, changed around. And the last part is the elevator, which then makes the entire building accessible to everybody. So it's like a long drawn out project. So
Except for the attic.
Yeah.
Except for the apartment. The apartment is not accessible.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And so that's, that's like a $4 million cost there. It's 2.63 for the roof, 4 million here. And we're going to talk later about, we have to do the waterproofing the outside in terms of what we've done. And you've done some other electrical and water work and stuff. So we basically have a building that, once we do the water work, that the last piece of it is an HVAC update. And so that would be a composite investment in Waveney if the HVAC gets in the $14 million for this asset we haven't touched since the late 60s. So that's kind of where.
And none of that touches the apartment. None of this.
No,
that
nor does anything cosmetically
Right,
inside.
nothing
But in terms of, and correct me, you guys, if I'm wrong, but we've talked about this. So once this all gets done, including the waterproofing, and then if we do choose to do the air conditioning, we at least have a firm shell structure for this building that should last for a long time, ignoring cosmetics, internal cosmetics, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So something we didn't pay any attention to for a long, long time. So
5 years.
Yeah.
a long time. Yeah.
Well, imagine ignoring your house for 55 years.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
And the only other thing I think, paying attention to this building in 2018, I think some window work was done. So like on a go forward basis, there may be some window stuff we
Right.
need to
The
do.
windows, I've
One-off.
been here almost 30 years now, and I don't remember them doing it when I was here. I know Steve did it because I did find the spec on it. I didn't see the year on it though. They're still holding up for the most part. And if you have to change glass in them, that's just maintenance, and glasses just pop out, pop in the panels. When the time comes to have discussion about windows in the future, you'll have a lot of options there. You can replace in kind, you just change glass. You'll have some
But just so people know what might
Yeah.
be the exposure going forward.
general maintenance things, like anybody who owns a house understands you get X amount of time out of certain elements of a building. And that's the end. The point is, I think what we're getting to is that we made the big investment here to get it all up to code, get it up to date, and with a few more, which HVAC and everything will get you a really comfortable climate control building. So
And hopefully on a go forward basis, like we have a better system to keep up our buildings than we used to. This will be in the maintenance budget.
And
going
we've
forward.
eased, right? So we were hit with that $26 million number. And in the beginning, we're like, well, how are we going to do all this at once? Well, what we've done is we've chipped away at what we have to do. And it just smooths out this job a little bit better than trying to, do everything at once. So I think the windows are still probably an issue at some point. The HVAC is still out there, the apartment's still out there. So we still have a ways to go. But as you say, at least we've got a good envelope now.
Yeah, we're getting there. And I think, Tiger, you mentioned that there may be the opportunity to repurpose the generator from
From the police
the
department.
police station,
Yeah,
potentially over there.
correct.
for
We'll use the
redundancy.
existing police department generator, which we have no use for at present,
Mhm.
to move it over to Waveney, repurpose it there, and then that building will be fully functional at that point in time, fully electrified. If there, God forbid, there was a power outage or what have you, we could utilize that building. Right now, the generator is there only services portions of the building, not the whole thing.
and it's old.
Right.
thing we need to talk about is timing on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so for some reason, we've decided that we're gonna block ourselves into only being able to do work in that one quarter, in that like there's renting of the house for weddings, which is not really bringing a lot of revenue, but we've decided that's how we're gonna do it. So we have the first quarter of 2026, is that correct?
Oof,
That's correct.
Get this done.
That's our goal.
Okay, if we don't, what happens?
We would have to then see if we'd have to cancel events or pause and then come back. And it might be where we pause for a period of time to then give people an opportunity. If we have to cancel an event, not cancel an event on April 1, cancel an event on September 1, pause and then come back. We haven't given that much thought, but at present, contractor is aware of exactly the window that he has. It's been something that's been talked about for a year or more. He's aware of it, and that's our goal, is to make that. And his feeling is that if everything arrives on time, you should be able to make that.
Okay, that's like so important.
Yeah.
That's just because we all of a sudden then we're just gonna be throwing more money, putting this off and you going back another. So that's a super, super important. So if you can keep us up to date on how we are on that, like in, our meetings.
Right. We have
That'd be great.
we have a meeting slated with the entire design team shortly about that specific item.
Yeah. And look, I know you'll be in the know, but if you can think to let
will let
us
you know.
know, that would be really helpful.
Try to do a face-to-face, actually Zoom with the manufacturer of the elevator, because they're holding the cards basically on building it and getting it to us. So that's the next step here, is to get a face-to-face commitment from them that this will be here on time. So
I got to commend you guys as far as the way the job has gone to date, because if you go into that building, you really don't see anything, but up in the ceiling, there's a lot going on, but in the basement, it's literally like beehive of work going on, and you actually don't see it inside the building. So
the things that we discovered are pretty amazing, as you can imagine, as I spoke to you about, and the hidden areas that are accessible now. It's remarkable how they built that building.
Ready literally to just cut through and get that elevator in there. So
after we cut through 18 inches of floor and 18
Yeah,
inches of ceiling, who would have thought, right?
And you guys put this is the visual. You guys put it up on
on the
it's up so
tablet.
people can see it, and maybe Deanna, you can socialize it on your newsletter and stuff. It's look, this is not optional. We have to do it. We looked at every single option for how to put this in, and if people think we didn't, I was in meetings 2018, 17 and stuff like that. So we need to do this. I think it looks really great. And it's exciting to me that we're finally getting there. And then this building will be usable for everybody.
I mean, when you look at this finished product here compared to what some of the drawings were in the beginning of sort of this awkward looking round, whatever you want to call it, a bird cage or whatever. This is very nice compared to what so good things take time. And I think it will look amazing. The way this works in here is so much better than some of those other designs. So hopefully.
Yeah,
we'll
and
get there.
it didn't alter the staircase or anything.
no.
We have to move a light fixture, but that's it. So, when people saying we're collapsing the staircase, we are not. We're not.
Thank you. I think we, after all the time and effort that we put into this, that we're getting it right. I think, moving a little slower to get it right is a little better than moving fast and getting it wrong. So.
But if you could think like on a month, when we're in front of you guys every 2 weeks, like maybe once a month, just give us a quick update when you do your public work stuff. I might forget to ask, but this is just an important project and we have a tight time frame.
Yeah. You always have an open invitation. Just give me a call. I'll walk you through it over there.
I'll forget. I'm just saying. So,
I'm sure that we give you an update.
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. All right. So if there are no further questions, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works of a change order with Alden Bailey Restoration in the amount of $395,800 plus a contingency of $60,000 for a total project cost of $455,800. The project entails the ADA phasing of installing of an elevator in Waveney House.
Second.
It's unanimous. All right.
Thank you.
Waveney House exterior repairs. Joe.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so I'm here today for the Waveney House exterior repairs 2025 masonry project. The department of Public Works is requesting authorization to enter into a contract with GL Capasso to perform the scope of work as indicated in the contract documents prepared by Architectural Preservation Studios. This is basically all the work required at Waverty House for the ongoing moisture and water infiltration to fix that. So a quick history. In November of 2024, the town retained Architectural Preservation Studio and Hoffman Architects and Engineers as the envelope consultant, and Architectural Preservation Studios was hired as the architect. Hoffman performed a peer review of the drawings and worked with the town and Architectural Preservation Studios to build a consensus on the best scope of work, approach, and details to perform the masonry repairs to fix the leaks at Waverty's facade. The project went through a formal bid process, competitive bid process. In addition to advertising to bid, the invitation to bid was sent to several qualified contractors. We had 5 plan holders. They walked through for the bid walkthrough, and unfortunately, a couple of them dropped. So we received 2 bids as summarized in the attached bid summary. I won't go into any of the details unless you'd like me to. Capasso was the lowest qualified bidder. Their base contract was $554,375. To that, we had an alternate for the interior plaster repairs. That's basically the interior plaster repairs in the kitchen, so that we can make that project whole with this masonry contract, for a total of $568,775. Through the process, Hoffman gave a rough order of magnitude budget for the main house and the service wing. They estimated wholesale repairs, so their quantities and unit prices were high. So we worked with the design team to clearly identify the limits of the work and reduce the overall quantities and therefore the project costs. So we scaled back from what they perceived as the quantities for all the repairs. So it's much less than we had originally budgeted.
Right?
So
It's
we have a
huge.
$2.3 million budget for this work
Correct.
in this year's budget. So that's what, I mean, I'm looking at there's additional work prices down below. So.
Yes. So
I guess
this.
Go ahead.
So this approach will fix 95% of the leaks, and we'll reassess the building as we're up there and we have access with the lifts, and the building is open. We can do a deeper dive into any additional repairs that are required. This will also allow us to do the work off of lifts. So there's only like 3 weeks in the summertime where we'll have to kind of close the or there's nothing really open at the time. We coordinated that with John to have the back patio offline for those 3 weeks, and everything else will be done off of lifts with the exception of the southeast corner over next to the bar area, so that there's really not a disruption to the ongoing activities and the weddings at Waveney. So there will be a second phase, and we'll further identify what work needs to be done. But we are considerably under budget, and I think most of it was because of their unit prices were a lot higher in their order of magnitude budget, and we got some really good pricing on that, and also the scope of work was reduced. They just kind of went with the wholesale numbers in their budget to give us the most conservative view on it. And as the design process developed, we were able to reduce the overall amount of square footage of scope repairs.
Yeah, I'm just so confused. So the bid, I think I'm looking for the Grasso bid is what, 554, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and then below that, we have alternate price items. Some big.
They need to do more.
Yeah.
Than because I don't see I guess there's probably more detail to this. Because is there a drawing that corresponds to these prices? I mean, where do you get they have a price for repointing, but it just says all, eroded areas. How do we know
So
what
there-
we're getting for the $97,925?
So there's, the drawings are detailed.
Okay.
There's a whole drawing and specification set.
Right.
For the contract documents that go along with this. And they identify the limits of the scope of work
So how much,
and the
so,
repairs.
so you said, yeah, no, I've seen the drawings. I've seen the identification. So how much did you scale back to get? I guess I think both of us are a little bit concerned, and I don't want to speak for you, Amy, but
I know, go ahead.
my concern is we had an assessment that gave us a very broad, lots of repairs necessary. None of us like it, but we want to make sure that the building is complete. We don't want to have like multiple different bites at the apple, because this is a heavily used facility. We'd like to have it finished and complete, not years of, bites at the apple and completing it. So, I guess.
We just don't want it to leak.
Yeah.
Right? It's like.
It's short-term pain versus long-term.
Right.
Gain. I mean, why not disable the building and get it done the right way? I pictured this was going to be like the Sistine Chapel. We're going to have scaffolding all over the place. We're going to have 100 guys working on this all summer or something. And then, that was just my impression. This seems more like a patch job than like really the full,
No, they're doing it. They're performing the work off of lifts. There's not a large masonry component as far as the weight of the masonry, because they're doing it in very strategically at the window heads. The actual coping stones, which were always a future project, if we were going to do through wall flashing at the coping stones, is not part of this project. It never was. And that would require more scaffolding.
So it was, but it wasn't part of I thought it was part of the 2.4 that you put in the budget.
It was in a future year. It was off in a future year.
In addition to the 2.4 in the budget? I thought that budget number from Hoffman had that included. I thought the Hoffman number had that flashing in the numbers.
They had the flashing at the window heads. They didn't have anything under the copings. They didn't
Are we
recommend.
doing any of the flashing? I didn't. let me look.
Underneath the,
You go to the alternate price items. Okay, reset existing limestone copings and install through wall flashings with new anchors at all areas not covered in base bid. That's $278,000.
Yes.
So you're not doing that now?
So we're not doing that as part of this scope of work, because in order to do that work, it's so destructive to the building. The consultant and the designer determined that there wasn't a huge benefit to doing that portion of the work.
But that
if
was
there's no
in the
leaks.
Hoffman
Yes.
scope. Okay.
Yep.
Now, is Hoffman involved in these discussions about what we should do or not? Okay, all right, so,
They've been involved the entire time.
okay, so we
through
have
the-
two groups, two views coming together and
Yep.
looking at this, right? And then again, what's not in, remove brick courses above all windows, not included, right? And that was in the Hoffman thing, but this group together is deciding, well, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Correct. Not in the first phase, for sure.
And that's because if you disturb something
Cause
that's
problems, yeah.
there, that's solid, you could possibly disturb it and create more issues, I guess, right? Is that the?
Yeah, that's the, the architectural preservation studio was more of the approach of fix everything that's broken. And the Hoffman approach took basically whether it was broken, not broken, and functioning fine, and put through wall flashing throughout the building.
Right.
It was one extreme and the other extreme, and
Okay.
we met in the middle with building a consensus between the design teams.
And what we have is we have sufficient authorization to do more. I would say, I really do think one of the alternates is 14,000 for first floor kitchen install.
That's
included.
That's included.
That was added.
Okay, let's make sure we do that, yeah.
That was added to the.
That was
Yes.
added to the base bid. That's correct.
So the
14,400.
14.4, so actually the 14.4 is in the 5. In the
The
455.
The 568. You actually have to look at that bid memo. Unfortunately, there was a typo on the agenda.
Okay.
So if you look at the memo, it's included for interior repairs. It was called contingency.
Right. And then we had a
so-
separate contingency.
So we have a separate contingency.
Okay, so at this point, we would be authoring 568, 775, is that correct?
Plus
Plus 85,000
for contingency.
for contingency for a total of
Oh,
653,000.
so the 14.4 is not contingency?
That's the plaster
That's the
repairs.
plaster repairs you were
That's
Okay,
it.
so,
to.
okay, so
That's
that's,
it. That's-
so
that's
actually
important.
plus plaster, yeah, plaster repair.
Added the plaster repairs and came up with the 568, 775, added the contingency to that of 85,000 for a total of 653, 775.
653, 775.
Right, that's in the bid memo itself.
So as they're doing this work
Mhm.
and they're up there looking, might it be like they come back and say, whoa, we need to do more and you're going to come to us for stuff? I mean, or do you think this?
So we have enough work to do this summer with the way the schedule lays out, the way the weddings lay out, the way that other things lay out. So the overall schedule will start in June and we'll be finishing up in October. And then we'll have kind of into November as some contingency time. But we have more than we can chew for this year with this scope. But we will identify if there's, we'll have the lifts there. We'll be able to chase any additional, leaks that we might want to chase. And there'll be the opportunity to fix it with the contingency on a time and material basis.
Okay, and so what we have here is we had, very limited approach and extreme approach. We're coming in the middle. We authorized for the enough funding for the extreme. You're doing what you think you should do now that keeps the building tight, and then we can come back and address it if needed.
Should we see something else?
Right.
That's correct.
So this will like fix sounds small, but the new bathroom, the water leaking, that'll get fixed and
Yes.
stuff like that, right?
Yes. There's all the known leaks will be fixed as part of this project to the extent that we know where the leaks are coming from. Having said that, there is a couple leaks that we still need to chase. So having said that, that's when they continue.
Where are those leaks that you still need to chase?
So there's a leak that is coming from above the coping line over in the sleeping porch. Sleeping porch, is that correct, John?
The western side. Yeah, up above
Like
the.
which one's the sleeping porch?
Yeah. So there's and that happens only when there's a driving rain.
We get.
Which we obviously get over there. So that's one of those problems. It's an intermittent water problem. So to chase an intermittent water problem, we're gonna have to chase it. Discover where it
Yeah,
is.
because
and
I would
fix
love
it.
to, I don't really want to,
We don't like water problems.
yeah, but just really want to get that,
Neither.
like, yeah, so let's figure that out.
Mhm.
We're in spring, we should be,
We're gonna hit with some.
we're gonna, yeah, we'll
Soon as-
get rain, so if we can really focus on that.
As soon as we have the lifts out there
So
with this
you'll be
contractor.
coming back for that, or that you think you?
I think it'll be covered in the contingency.
Okay.
But the Hoffman approach was to also put coping on through wall flashing on the top of every coping
Yeah.
at the roof interface,
Means you're taking stuff
which
off.
was always a separate phase, but it always means we're taking these large copings off this historic building and then putting through wall flashing, which you'll be able to read the detail of the flashing, from the ground if you have a trained eye and you're looking for it. And then you have to put everything back. So
Yeah,
we don't,
renovating's more expensive than doing new, that's for sure.
yeah.
Same thing on this. Let's think like at least every other meeting or just, in public, if you guys can just think to, hey, we are in Waverly, just remind us, because these are big projects and they're important projects.
Did you say, I'm sorry, I may have missed, did you say when this would start?
Start in June.
Alrighty. Okay. Maybe this may be the project that's not.
Going forward, we'll give you a little bit of an update.
Yeah,
each
it'd
time
be
for-
good.
For both.
Yeah, it'd be helpful.
for both
It's,
houses.
yeah, it's a very visible project, so, okay,
Thank you.
great. Any other questions? If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter, oh, sorry, one other question, sorry.
Sure.
Was Kronsberger the first bid we got? Were they the first bid that we,
Cronenberger from
Cronenberger?
the first time? Yeah.
Yes,
I believe-
okay.
I believe it was
Yes.
Cronenberger was.
So they lost this
Correct,
time.
and then it flipped.
Okay.
on this one.
Okay. And you're equally happy with both.
We met with both. We were comfortable with both. Yeah, we met and interviewed both.
All right. So if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with GL Capasso in the amount of $554,375 plus plaster repair funds of $14,400 for a total project of 568. I'm going to add it. 500. Understand? I haven't gotten it all yet. Let me finish. $568,775 plus a contingency of $85,000 for a total project of $653,775. This project entails masonry repairs at Waveney House.
So moved.
Second.
It's
All
unanimous.
right, thanks, guys. Get it done.
Thank you.
This is great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
All right,
All
Joe.
right, so I have another one. So the temporary police department move, we're moving back to South Avenue. The move starts on May 28th and just 8 days away. And then June 4th, as everyone knows, is the ribbon cutting ceremony. So I'm here to enter into a contract with with Castor Moving Company for a value of $28,063 for the move and the balance of storage fees.
Yay, coming to the end.
Okay.
Woo-hoo.
All right. So if there are no questions, could I get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Castor Moving Company in the amount of $19,334 plus a contingency of $8,729 for a total project cost of $28,063 to move the police department back to 174 South Avenue from the temporary location on Locust Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. All right, Tiger, pave 25.
Why don't you guys come on up here, because you're gonna be up here in 2 weeks, so might as well see what it feels like to be up in the front row. There's a light above there that kind of shines on you, and they don't see it, so well, thank you very much. So this next is a request for a contract with Safety Markings Incorporated for the line striping removal and installation of our paved 2025 microthin overlay cape seal and crack seal roads. So the contractors that are associated with that don't do the line striping. We went to Safety Markings itself. They gave us they were the low bidder on the Connecticut DOT District 3 procurement contract. These unit prices reflect that. So there's a $8,156.34 to remove some of the line striping, and then $52,426 to reinstall, for a total of $60,582.34. I added a 10% contingency of $6,000 for a total of $66,582.34, and the funds are currently available in our paving management program budget. Just to give you an idea, it's like 29 roads, and it's 55,000 linear feet of center line that has to go back in again, which is approximately 11 miles worth of road. So it's quite substantial amount of work that has to be done. So we stripe every 5 years. So when we pave, we stripe it. When we crack seal, we stripe it. When we pave again, we stripe it. We use an epoxy coated paint. It lasts 3 to 5 years. So we stay at the 5-year mark, and then it's kind of works with our program itself. When the moment we're touching it is the moment we're restriping it. And it just so happens that this year, a lot of the roads that we're doing have center lines on them, whereas normally it's not necessarily that way. But this year is quite a few. So.
Hey, Tiger, are we staying with striping as we always have, or are we rethinking it? Remember we had last year, Jeff, what was this, Spec came and talked about walking over New Canaan and talked about how in an odd way, a center line stripe may speed up people versus that whole. So are we doing any changing of that? Are we doing exactly what we,
It's a great question. Some of those changes had already been made. So we had already made those changes prior to his coming to speak to us about removing some center lines in certain areas like Church Street. We removed the double center line on Church Street. In other areas, other roads that had them, we removed them. But it
was also the thought of like maybe get rid of the center line and put white lines on both sides and bring them in. Are we changing what we're doing now, or do you think we're where we need to be, or?
So we're talking about, in essence, need the center line just to try to keep a delineation of the the paths, of each lane of travel. So you're talking Weed Street, Ponus Ridge, Talmadge Hill, Heritage Hill. These are all ones that already have a double yellow line, and some already have a white edge line on them. So it's not a question of being able to remove the double yellow and just leave the white edge line. If it was a
double
lower
yellow is
volume
a lot,
road or something of that nature, then we could, AKA Church Street. We wound up just removing it and treating it more like it's a residential through street versus of a more heavily traveled road. And that seemed to work, and the residents seem to like that as well. And we haven't had any complaints, but the roads that are on the list, we do take a look, but these are not ones that I would recommend removing the center line on.
Okay, so you've taken this into consideration. Okay, thank you.
So
Sorry for
Tiger, you
long.
said that safety markings was the low bidder, but I don't see any other bids.
It wasn't a low bidder. I just went because of the state procurement contract. Sorry.
Okay, okay, all right. All right,
They were the low bid on the state procurement
Okay.
contract, sorry.
yep. I just want to clarify.
And they're excellent. So,
As long as they have that's great. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Safety Markings, Inc. in the amount of $60,582.34, plus a contingency of $6,000 for a total project cost of $66,082.34. The project entails the line striping, removal, and installation as part of PAVE 2025 Cape Seal Local Roads projects.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Almost there.
Right, one more.
Sidewalks.
So this next one is a request to enter into a contract with Chris DeAngelis PE LLC for a total of $34,500 for the survey and design of the replacement of the sidewalks on East Avenue, which is Route 106, from Main Street, Route 124, to New Norwalk Road, Route 123. So there's sidewalks on both sides of the street up to Summer Street. And then it's just,
Oh, yeah, it goes, and then it's on one side.
so it's on the north and the south as you get all the way down to Summer Street, and then it just stays on the north side all the way down to 123. The overall cost of the project is estimated about $1.1 million. So we're looking to design it in whole and then look to piece it out. The thought being that we'll likely do from Cherry Street to Main Street, since that's closest to the downtown, and then work our way out. And the thought is at present that we might look for a grant to take care of
Ask you that.
the stretch from Cherry to New Norwalk Road.
How many, is it half mile? It's a long stretch,
Mhm.
those sidewalks.
How long was it?
And they are pretty sad when you get over to.
So we had,
It's
it's 2,900 feet of roadway on one side and 1,600 feet of roadway on the other. So it's just over a half a mile.
Yeah.
And it would, we feel it would fit with a local transportation capital improvement program grant, a lot set grant. Very involved, but sidewalks are part of it. And the fact that we're going from a state route to a state route would help us with that. So the thought is to then work through that process with them, and maybe, like I said, say from Cherry to all the way out to New Norwalk Road with that portion. But we have to have a design in place before we can go look for grants. They look for shovel ready. They don't look for anything, the planning grant, so to speak. So Chris DeAngelis has done all of our sidewalk design work. Excuse me. He was part of Cabezas DeAngelis previously. So he did Main Street, Richmond Hill, the sidewalks on Old Stanford Road for Bristow Park. He's done all of Park Street. He's doing our Lakeview Avenue ones. He did Elm Street. He's done others. So he's done excellent work. And as part of our procurement contract or our purchasing policy, professional services are not required to be bid, but his prices are very low. He's a one-stop shop. It's just his shingle, and he knows exactly how we like to see things in town. So how our designs are. So, and he did Millport Avenue as well, I should say. So that's under construction right now. So he's done great work, and we'd like to see a contract be awarded to Chris DeAngelis PE.
Any other questions?
Nope.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Chris DeAngelis Engineers in the amount of $34,500 in order to perform the survey and design of sidewalks on a portion of East Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
All right.
All right.
Very much. People using our sidewalks right now. I mean, it is unbelievable.
It's excellent. Yeah, the bump outs are done, so they look good. We planted a new tree on Elm Street. We planted an elm on Elm Street. I don't know if you noticed, but right next to Elm Restaurant, we planted a new elm on Elm Street.
I saw the truck backing
Dutch
up.
elm, right? No
It's like a
Dutch elm.
Saturday morning.
It's a Princeton elm. It's actually it's a resistant to
Okay,
the
great.
Dutch elm.
Great.
And, yeah, so yeah, of the morning came in and planted it. We had taken out a tree there prior, so we said let's plant it back in again now. And the rest of the bump outs seem to be working pretty well.
Looks nice.
Yeah, and he's down now. Contractor's down on Millport. Got a couple 3 weeks left on Millport, and then the other contractor is slated to start June 15th in the Putnam Road area. He'll be there for about 6 to 8 weeks. So yeah, so we're on our way.
Good stuff.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Welcome.
we have contracts under $10,000 for review. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, and then if we could move to, so TDEC has a vacancy and oh, he is, okay.
Hi,
Oh,
Mark.
sorry.
Waiting patiently.
Oh,
very
sorry,
patiently to give
Mark.
someone an idea of what
Hopefully you
time.
had something good to do there while you were waiting.
So hopefully you all know Mark. We have a vacancy on TDAC and Mark works very closely, obviously at the Historical Society and several other initiatives in town and asked to join us. So we're looking forward to having him join us. Our big sort of initiative happening right now is our October for Design, which is a 10-day series in October of celebrations of all of the arts and culture in town. And Mark will fit right in with the team. Mark, I don't know if you have anything that you want to add other than everybody's seen your resume and you clearly have a lot of experience in the field.
Yep,
Are you unmuted? He's trying. Let me see, hold on. He could be back at the back.
You're good.
There you go.
I'll be delighted to join the group in this effort, and I've lived here for over 30 years and been involved in many projects, and I look forward to working with everyone.
An exciting group.
It is, and Mark and I have, we're going to get together and I'm going to bring him up to speed on everything that we've been working on and continue to work on, and I think it'll be great.
All right. We like to have the architectural eye on some of our beautiful projects. So thank you Mark for being willing to participate with this group.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for your
Okay.
service.
All right, so if I could get a motion to approve the appointment of Mark Markowitz wait, I said that wrong. Could you say your name? Markavich, okay. Sorry, Mark Markavich to the Tourism and Economic Development Advisory Committee for a 3-year term ending December 1st, 2027.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. And nice job at the Historical Society building.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Amazing.
Really
Just
great
beautiful.
job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, legal bills. You have the legal bills in front of you. Any questions on the legal bills?
Almost June 1st.
I know, we're
Getting there.
June 30th.
June 30th, sorry. June 30th. Got one more month.
Any questions? So if not, if I could get a motion to approve the legal fees.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. All right, and the only one, again, welcome to our interns. Look forward to having you helping out in town. We have a great town, so. And then also just wanted to tell everybody, remind everybody that it's hard to believe that the start of summer officially kicks off this Monday with the Memorial Day Parade. Kickoff is at 9:30, steps off from St. Mark's as usual, and the parade route is the same as it's always been. So look forward to seeing you all there. And then I would like to encourage everyone after the parade to join the VFW in the cemetery for service, recognizing, you know, what Memorial Day is really about, the service of our veterans. And we have a veteran that we'll be honoring at that event. And so hope to see you all in Lakeview Cemetery after the parade. And, oh, that's right. And the firehouse, and you won't see, they go down below. So don't be surprised if you don't see anybody up above. The volunteer fire company always does hot dogs and whatever down below on Locust Avenue. Enter from Locust Avenue, and you can get a free hot dog and see our local finest, you know, at the firehouse.
What weather have you ordered for this month?
I am looking, okay, don't jinx me. Everyone, this is was my least popular decision my first term. I got lots of feedback, so please pray for a nice day. It looks right now, it looks like the rain will be behind us by the time the parade comes. So I'm praying for a sunny day. Although right now it feels like it's not coming to summer yet, but hopefully by that point the weather will get a little warmer. Anything else? Anyone else wants to add? If not, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. It's unanimous. Thank you.